Good morning, my friends. It's your old pal PeaceLoveMusic with another episode of the Let's Go Good Morning Show, brought to you live by DeOrganized Media in partnership with our good friends over at BitcoinLive Decentralized Broadcasting. It is Friday morning. Friday. We made it through another week, or almost. We got one more day to crush it. Ecosystem's been doing great. Stacks is looking good. Bitcoin's looking good coming into the new month. It's the 2nd of May. Already May. This year is flying by. I know everyone else is feeling it too. We got a great show for you today. A little bit of a format change. We've got the SIP and Innovation Call, which we've been running for the last few weeks now. We love doing that, by the way. We're super appreciative of the opportunity to provide that service for our ecosystem for stacks. And we have Larry Salibra and Marvin Jansen. I'm not sure who else. Haddy and Hero Gamer will be coming on with us. And we will be talking about Larry's proposal to integrate using Bitcoin addresses for stacks transactions. Very, very interesting. It would be great if we can actually facilitate getting that to work and adopted. Friendly reminder, this is a news and information show. We were providing news, information, hopefully some education, maybe a little entertainment, but never financial advice. Always do your own research and never invest money you cannot afford to lose. It's very important that you take that seriously, because I'm saying it seriously. I will never tell you to invest in something just on my word alone. I might give you my opinions about things as a non-professional, just general guy out in the ecosystem learning about things myself, providing you with the information to make your own decisions, not to do what I tell you to do. That's not what I'm here for. Don't listen to me. Do it for yourself. That being said, as of about an hour ago, Bitcoin was coming in at 97,074, over 97K. That's a really great place to be for us right now. We can finish the week over 97K. Things are looking good in my, again, non-financial advisor opinion. Stacks coming in at 82 cents. Market coming in at 82 cents, which is about number 61 by market cap on CoinMarketCap. Fear and Greed up to 55. And the top three gainers on CoinMarketCap over the last 24 hours are IMX, Quant QNT, and EOS. I'm surprised EOS is still around, but somebody's buying it. Stack STX, Earn BTC. sBTC is programmable Bitcoin for DeFi. Stacks has fast, low-fee transactions, proof of transfer security, and native Bitcoin rewards. Tell your friends. In the Stacks DeFi world, you know what? Before I actually get into that, my friends, it's important. It's very, very important for us that you share out the stream for us. If you like what we're doing, if you're tuning in, you're catching the shows, share out the stream. It helps us grow, it helps us reach more users, and it helps us get out into the ecosystem like we need to. So I mentioned we're having the SIP and community calls coming on at 9. So I'm going to get through the news, and then we'll do that. We'll have Find2Earn at 10 a.m. instead of 9:30 our regular time, and we'll see how it goes from there. We're a little deorganized this morning, but first and foremost, I have to have my mirror right so that when I'm wearing merch and stuff, you can read the words, but it's hard not being mirrored because I want to point at stuff. It doesn't work as well when I'm backwards. So share out the stream. It's important for us that you do that. It's really, really important for us that you share out the stream. In the Stacks DeFi world today, Hermetica is offering 9% yield with over $5.5 million total value locked. You can check out their fresh new 2.0 user interface, really slick, lots of new bells and whistles on the platform. And of course, just simply, it's a Bitcoin-backed dollar stablecoin that earns yield today 9%, usually up to 25%. Hermetica is where it's at. DCA into Bitcoin, stacks, runes, and more effortlessly at Bitflow.finance. And now Bitflow just added a major upgrade to its liquidity platform with the launch of Flex Pools. Flex Pools allow users to provide liquidity in any ratio while benefiting from ultra-low slippage. PerpDex on Stacks is now live over at Velar. The long-awaited PerpDex has launched. Now you can engage in perp trading, stake your Velar, pair your favorite tokens with sBTC, earn yield, and trade tokens, all at Velar. Alex Labs' X-Link Bridge is now protocol with the aim of facilitating swaps directly between Bitcoin and USDT and AUSD stablecoins. Also, Alex has just been added to lend and borrow on Zest protocol. Huge news. That is a tremendous add, and I love how integrated and broad the Stacks Bitcoin DeFi ecosystem is. Zest is offering 4.13% yield on sBTC with today's highest yield at 12.48% on USDA. That's Arcadico's dollar stablecoin. Over at StackingDAO, you can earn 7.41% interest on STX with liquid STX, 7.76% yield in native BTC, or 7.19% with rewards in sBTC. The top 3 Stacks token gainers on STX tools this morning are Turto. No, this is wrong. This is from yesterday. Hold on, this is how easy it is, by the way, to do your own research. I'm just going to stxtools.io. Forgot to grab the top gainers for the news. I must have gotten distracted. So today's top gainers are Hoax, Moist Sock in the house. Wow, that's cool. And Rock tokens. So some OG. I'm not familiar with Hoax, but Moist and Rock are a couple of OG meme tokens. I see UAP. I see Tremp on there. I see Stone. Lots of gainers on the Stacks meme coins this morning. And you can check that out over at stxtools.io. STX Tools is the place to go to do your own research if you're investing in Stacks tokens. What is happening in Stacks today? Let's see. On the DeOrganized calendar schedule, we have our show, as always, 8:30 a.m. to 9:30, although we're running 9 to 10 for the SIP call. That's usually at 10:30. And we have Purple Pill Friday at 5 p.m. with Dan and Brad. Let me just double check on the Stacks events page. See if there's anything extra on there. I know there's still some Token 49 events. SWE Base Camp Dubai, huge news with SWE. The BTC Summit Staking Circle, Bitcoin Breakfast at Token 2049 going on. Stacks Bitcoin Builders Brunch event in Dubai is from 8 to noon today. These times are all Eastern. And as always, 7 p.m., we have our DeOrganized nightly show with GPSC and friends. So make sure you tune in to support and participate in that as well. That is the events calendar for the day. If you have an X Space, a live stream, event series, anything that you have that you want us to share to the community, you can head over to DeOrganized.media, create your own user account. It's a simple wallet connection. And from there, you can set up a show. We'll get you on the schedule. And once it's on the schedule, on the day of the show, we will shout it out to our audience and let everyone know that you have it going on. And it's simple, costs you nothing, over at DeOrganized.media. That is free for the whole community. Anyone got anything going on, it doesn't have to be Stacks related. It doesn't even have to be Bitcoin related. Bitcoin surges past 97K, marking its highest level since February. This rally is attributed to renewed institutional interest with significant inflows into Bitcoin ETFs and positive market sentiment. Analysts suggest that if the momentum continues, Bitcoin could test 100K resistance in the near future. I personally am cautiously optimistic that that's coming sooner than later myself. Now, financial advice. Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy, reported a $4.2 billion loss in quarter one, primarily due to a $5.9 billion unrealized loss on its Bitcoin holdings. Despite this, the company announced plans to raise $21 billion through an equity offering to acquire more Bitcoin. reinforcing its commitment to the cryptocurrency. As of April 28th, Strategy holds 553,555 Bitcoin. That's nuts. Valued at approximately 37.9 billion, and they're about to raise another 21 billion. That's insane. That's a lot. That's conviction right there. It is. Ethereum is currently trading around $1,845, struggling to break through the $2,000 resistance level. Despite positive indicators and whale activity, the market remains cautious. Analysts are watching closely to see if Ethereum can gain the momentum needed to surpass this critical threshold. MEXC, crypto exchange MEXC, has announced a $300 million ecosystem development fund aimed at supporting Web3 projects over the next 5 years. The fund will focus on early-stage blockchain startups, public chain ecosystems, decentralized wallets, and foundational tools, marking MEXC's strategic shift from a user-focused exchange to a foundational force in blockchain infrastructure. Very interesting. Recent quantitative macro analysis indicates that Bitcoin's price movements have become less correlated with the S&P 500, suggesting a shift in market dynamics. Analysts attribute this decoupling to factors such as monetary policy shifts and strength of the US dollar, indicating that Bitcoin may be charting its own course independent of traditional markets. ETF flows for May 1st. On May 1st, Bitcoin spot ETFs experienced a net inflow of $422 million. BlackRock's IBIT led it with an inflow of $351.4 million, followed by Bitwise's BitB with $38.4 million, and Fidelity's FBTC with $29.5 million. Notably, ARKB saw an outflow of $87.2 million. Ethereum spot ETF saw a total net inflow of $6.5 million on the same day, with FETH recording an inflow of $6.5 million, while Grayscale ETH experienced an outflow of $12 million. So just almost zero on ETH. They're still not sure where it's going. This is actually a great development. Finally, Stacks and Bitcoin L2 Labs have announced the activation of sBTC with Oral functionality on mainnet, marking a major milestone in the Stacks Layer 2 ecosystem. This upgrade enables users to redeem their sBTC for native Bitcoin in a trust-minimized way without centralized custodians. sBTC is a one-to-one Bitcoin-backed asset that brings BTC liquidity to smart contracts. With withdrawals now live, developers and DeFi protocols can confidently build on Stacks using Bitcoin-backed assets, significantly enhancing the composability and utility of BTC across decentralized applications. Another huge milestone for Stacks, SWI, a high-performance Layer 1 blockchain, is integrating sBTC to bring decentralized Bitcoin-backed assets into its DeFi ecosystem. sBTC is a one-to-one BTC-pegged asset built on the Stacks network, enabling Bitcoin holders to engage in smart contract applications without custodians. The integration allows BTC to be used across lending, trading, and liquidity protocols on SWI, expanding BTC's utility beyond hodling. A part of the collaboration, the SWI Foundation will also operate a validator on Stacks, strengthening ties between the two networks. This move positions SWI to become a key player in Bitcoin DeFi and reflects growing momentum behind cross-chain BTC adoption. It's happening on Stacks. It's happening with the amazing devs. They're building out real, functional, programmable Bitcoin DeFi and other solutions in the Stacks ecosystem. Huge shout out. This is a tremendous accomplishment. Boom is offering .btc holders a chance to claim their matching .boom.btc subdomain, but only for a limited time from now through May 11th. So you only have a little over a week. Users who register for the Boom wallet at boom.money/reserve can optionally reserve a subdomain like DeOrganized.btc or PeaceLoveMusic.btc if they already own that .btc name. The move is designed to simplify Bitcoin transactions, making them as easy as sending an email. There's no pressure to participate, and your existing BTC name will still work on Boom, but if you don't claim it, someone else could. Who wants that? You don't want someone else impersonating your personality or your identity on Boom. It's going to be big. So get over there and get yours now. Bitflow launches Flex Pools. Bitflow has introduced a major upgrade to its liquidity platform with the launch of Flex Pools, starting with the new STSTX STX pool, designed specifically for yield-bearing assets like STSTX. Flex Pools allow users to provide liquidity in any ratio while benefiting from ultra-low slippage and automated reward optimization. The upgrade delivers deeper liquidity, higher APYs, and greater flexibility for traders and liquidity providers alike. This marks a significant step forward for stable swap infrastructure on Stacks and further positions Bitflow as the go-to DEX for dynamic DeFi trading. Flex Pools are now live and accessible at app.bitflow.finance/pools, singular. Get over there and get in it. Zeely has officially integrated the Stacks network, allowing users to connect their Stacks wallet and complete fully on-chain quests. From NFTs to tokens and custom experiences, everything on Stacks can now be verified and rewarded directly through Zeely. This marks a major leap forward in aligning community engagement and on-chain activity. Shout out to Bitflow, Leather, and Granite for helping bring this integration to life. And it's actually, I believe it's going live sometime next week. We'll see. With a lot of participation through the ecosystem, it's going to be great for Stacks to be able to get exposed to users that are on Zeely, but participating through other platforms and on other ecosystems, getting exposed to Stacks and coming over here and learning about it in a wholesome way. BoostX, the BoostX app Chrome extension just leveled up. You can now send STX, BTC, and other Stacks tokens directly to anyone on X with a .btc or .stx BNS name just by interacting with their posts. Send crypto with a like, get instant notifications. Now supports Stacks NFTs. Coming soon, mint NFTs with X. With full Stacks wallet integration, BoostX makes tipping, rewarding, and engaging with your X fam seamless. It's only getting better. Ready to boost? Head over to boostx.cc and try it now. And if you need a BNS name, you can head over to bns.one to claim your own .btc, .stx, or other BNS name and lock in your digital presence on Bitcoin. The latest platform upgrades include a sleek new interface with offers and counter offers, improved marketplace features, and smoother management tools, making it easier than ever to buy, trade, and rep your BNS across the ecosystem. Own your name, control your identity, start at bns.one. Big Market is preparing to launch the first decentralized prediction market built on Stacks, designed to prioritize reputation and pure speculation. Users gain influence through participation and accuracy using semi-fungible Big R tokens, which are earned and staked based on performance. The platform is currently live on testnet with markets running in STX. And testnet STX is available via Faucet. Part of the Stacks Ascent program, Big Market is engaging community members, meme coin projects, and media partners like DeOrganized to test and refine its system. Its goal, build high signal, low noise forecasting powered by real reputation on Bitcoin. You guys can head over to bigmarket.ai right now, connect your testnet wallet. If you need to, I can show you how to get some testnet stacks, and you can start participating in on-chain prediction market that they're building out at Big Market. As part of the Stacks Ascent promotion, the program, the Stacks Foundation has launched Stacks Ascent, a structured accelerator program designed to guide developers and startups building on the Stacks blockchain. With a 5-tier progression system, Ascent offers grants, mentorship, and exposure as participants advance from idea to mainnet-ready projects. Builders receive support in product design, go-to-market strategy, and event, even investor introductions. Ascent also connects teams with top ecosystem partners like Bitcoin Frontier Fund, Hero, and Trust Machines. The initiative is a major push to strengthen Bitcoin Layer 2 innovation by nurturing real sustainable projects from the ground up. And you can get started building on Stacks today over at stacks.co/build. stacks.io/get started, or it's going to be over at the right-hand side. Just go to stacks.co and it'll say get started. And from there, you can access developer tools, beginner guides, and a full app building resources. Whether you're new to blockchain or an experienced builder, you'll find everything you need, including opportunities to get paid to build. Don't wait, start building on Stacks today. And that is our news for the day. Shout out veteran.stacks. What's up, brother? Shout out STXAI. And I do want to give a quick shout out to some of our amazing marketing partners on DeOrganized. We are very, very fortunate to have some great ones from the ecosystem joining us. StackingDAO is the leading liquid staking platform for the Stacks network. StackingDAO is changing the game by letting users earn up to 10% APY on their STX while keeping their assets liquid. Unlike traditional staking, their unique design means no minimums and users start earning rewards immediately, so there are zero switching costs when moving from other stacking pools. Plus, you've got options. Choose to get your rewards in STX or sBTC, whatever fits your strategy. Want to start earning yield today? Head over to StackingDAO.com and jump in. StackingDAO is where liquidity meets opportunity. And Bitflow is your go-to DEX on Stacks, the only place where you can trade native BTC alongside top tokens like STX, sBTC, USDC, Runes, and more, including Liquidium's LIQ token. It aggregates the best swap rates from Alex, Arcadico, and Valar into one seamless platform. This week, Bitflow rolled out a major upgrade with the launch of Flex Pool, starting with the new STSTX Pool. Flex Pools are designed for liquid staking tokens like STSTX, offering deeper liquidity, smarter auto rewards, and the flexibility to provide assets in any ratio. It's a smarter way to earn with lower slippage and higher APYs for dynamic assets. If you're yield farming or stacking STSTX, this is one to check out. Visit app.bitflow.finance/pool to get started today. And we have a slight change in format this morning. It's going to be an interesting day. Normally we have our SIP and community innovation call at 10:30, but now we are actually going to run it special this morning at 9 a.m. We've got some really interesting stuff to bring you here. I'm just getting myself set up for this. By the way, guys, if you're watching, when you're watching, you have any questions, drop them in the live chat. We really want to have as much engagement as possible. I'm going to bring on our panel. I got a bunch of people waiting for me. Good morning, GP. How you doing today, brother?
Good morning, brother. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Got Blockface in the house. How you doing today, Michael?
Hello.
Jack B, what's up, Jack? How you doing? Legend of Stacks Legends.
What's up, guys? Look at all y'all's beautiful faces.
Too kind and untrue. I wasn't talking about you, Michael. I was talking about me. If you had glasses and my complexion was a little bit more summery.
That'll change your focus. We'll put you out in the desert. You'll look like me in like 5 minutes.
People will believe we're brothers. Good morning, Hero. How are you today?
Good morning. What's up?
Hey, what's happening?
Very good.
We've got Marvin Jansen in the house. Marvin, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Hey guys, doing well from sunny Malta. Great.
Nice. I'm actually waiting for my Rider 1, by the way. I ordered it about a week ago, so I should have it any day now.
Did you get your train code?
So I had So the reason it took me so long to order is because I didn't want to order through Indiegogo. Now you guys do ordering through the website a little bit more seamlessly. But I got a notification that I have to download the shop app to track it. Does that make sense?
Okay. You have to wait a little bit if you put it on the forefront, but it should be covered. So yeah, let's talk.
Yeah, once I get it, I'll have you back on. We can unbox it and we'll play around with it a little bit. But that's not the conversation for today. We also have Melanie. Good morning, Melanie. How are you today?
Good, thanks. How you guys? Happy Friday. Good to be here.
Awesome.
There's a lot of people in the room today.
Yeah, we got a big crowd. And we have Larry Salibra in the house. Larry, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good. Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you.
Today's show is brought to you by Rider One.
Hey, let's go. Nice. I love it. Where's Haddy? Haddy's not here? All right. Well, so the focus of this call today is on Larry's proposal to, I hope I'm saying this accurately, to basically start using Bitcoin addresses proper to send and receive for facilitating Stacks transactions without having to use Stacks addresses. Is that
absolutely. I can give a little background. So my motivation is really focused mainly on sBTC and making sBTC like as close to Bitcoin as possible. So like the way I think about it is like you've got Bitcoin, like layer 1 native Bitcoin, and then like sBTC is really just like layer 2 Bitcoin on the Stats network. It's not like right now it shows up as like some other token like sBTC. But I think longer term, we should aim for it just to be Bitcoin, but on the Stacks network. And to do that, I think it's really important to really nail the user experience. And so that comes from like many years of using Lightning. I think Lightning, for example, really failed on that. Like they made this system where like it's got invoices, everything's backwards compared to normal Bitcoin transactions. You can't just send money to somebody. You have to send an invoice. They have to pay it back and forth. It doesn't use addresses. And I think we really have an opportunity with sBTC to like sort of correct all of those and learn from that. And so right now when we use sBTC, we have to like use Stacks addresses and we have to pay for gas in Stacks, which is kind of both of those things make it not like Bitcoin. And so like one aspect of that is to change the Stacks addresses to Bitcoin addresses. And of course, the other one, which we won't talk about today, is like paying for the gas fees in BTC instead of paying in Stacks. So my motivation is like, how can we make it more like Bitcoin? And like the easiest way to start was, okay, let's like change the addresses back to Bitcoin. And I say back to Bitcoin because we're using Bitcoin addresses back in the day and we changed them to Stacks addresses for various reasons. And embarrassingly, I advocated for that. It made sense at the time. But now
Blockstack originally worked just with Bitcoin addresses? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was like, I want to say 2018 or so when we made the change, and the reason was because we were moving off of like being built directly on Bitcoin and making like a separate layer, like the current Stacks network. And at the time it made more sense, at least we thought it made sense to like have different addresses. And that was because the problem that we were having before was that we'd have like, so I made this product called the Blockstack browser, and it had a wallet in it, and there was an address, a Bitcoin address for your names, and also a Bitcoin address for your Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin address for your Bitcoin, like it could receive names, but then once you had them there, it couldn't do anything with it. And then vice versa, if you sent Bitcoin to like the name address, like then it wasn't gone, but it was like really hard to get back. We found this was like really confusing.
Similar to an ordinals address.
Yeah.
So the same, exactly. The same problem that ordinals had. Yeah.
So you were inscribing wallet addresses, kind of?
No, we just had like we had like two different Bitcoin addresses, and like one of them only worked with names, and the other one only worked with Bitcoins. And users would get confused, and they would send one to the other. And this was sort of like before the era of like before I guess like Ethereum and Solana got really big, where like people just got used to having like a million different assets with one address, and that's just sort of how the world's gone. And like so instead of like solving the problem with addresses, you just solve the problem at the wallet level and say like just make the wallet be able to detect like the different stuff that it has. And I think that's what we can do today, like that we can move back from Stacks addresses to Bitcoin, and then you can just send layer 1 Bitcoin to it like normal, or you could send like sBTC to it. And maybe even you can send like names or anything else on the Stacks network. Maybe we can convince other chains to use Bitcoin addresses as well too. So you could just like, everybody just uses Bitcoin addresses and you could send whatever you want to them.
That would be amazing.
So the,
Yeah.
The idea is to have an address that can hold assets, whether currency or otherwise, because that's what the users have decided they want through Phantom Wallet experiments. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Would you be able to put your ordinals in the same wallet as your coins? Or would that still be separate?
I don't know. I'm not like, I don't know if Ken was going to join us. He would probably be the more of an expert on that. I don't know if Marvin knows, but like, I don't know what the current state of ordinal like UTXO management is. I know it was tricky back in the early days, but I sort of like fell off on that and became uninterested. So I don't know how it is at the current time.
Yeah, Ken would be the expert. I would assume that there are more possible streamline and have like one general.
Marvin, your audio is a little unstable. Like you're not it's not coming in clear. It's breaking up a little bit.
It's Maltese right now.
How about now?
Better.
Oh, good.
Yeah, good.
Good. Yeah, that's what happens when your
the
laptop decides to use the wrong microphone.
Yes. Something I've had happen many times. Sometimes it changes in the middle of this live stream. It really is makes for some interesting days. But what spurred this originally was kind of the idea of recognizing that sBTC and BTC are basically just the same thing. sBTC, or to kind of further make it more that paradigm, I guess. Because sBTC really is just Bitcoin with programmable functionality on stacks. So
yes, yeah. I wouldn't say they're the. It really depends on like where you're looking at it. Like I guess I would look at like analogies, and a crypto analogy is looking at USDT. Like USDT is like actually a whole bunch of different tokens. There's like USDT on Tron. There was USDT on Omni. There's going to be USDT on like Taproot assets. Like there's USDT on Ethereum. Like they're actually all totally different tokens. They don't go around saying, oh, this is like EUSDT or that is like OUSDT. It's like really confusing. It's just like USDT on these different networks. And so I think that's a really good analogy for this. And then like looking at the fiat world, like you have like US dollars, but like US dollars is actually a whole bunch of different tokens. There's like a US dollar in the Fed account has a totally different risk characteristic than a US dollar in like a European bank versus like a US dollar like on your Visa credit card versus a US dollar on a piece of paper in your hand. Like they behave differently. They trade at different values. Like, I only give you like a good example of that is PayPal, right? You have US dollars in your PayPal account. Like I'm not going to pay you $100 for $100 worth of PayPal money because like it's going to be a pain for me to get out. Maybe I'll only pay you $90 for $100 worth of like PayPal money. So like these are actually all different tokens, but like we call them the same thing. We could just say they're US dollars. So I think that's the same sort of like thing that we need to have with Bitcoin to get people to like be comfortable using it on different layers in different places.
Right. It just makes people not have to think about it too much. They're just using it the same as it is on one versus the other, just like USDC.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me give a little bit more background. So this originally came up from talking about payments and talking about like how we can make we can basically go through and look at all the people that tried to integrate Lightning and like failed because like it was really complicated or because users couldn't like send over a certain amount because there was like liquidity, inbound or outbound liquidity issues. And like, or you have to create a whole different payment flow, for example, for Lightning than Bitcoin. But what if with like Stacks sBTC, you would just use a Bitcoin address, like use the exact same like QR code, exact same like checkout flow as you use with Bitcoin and just use it for Stacks and sBTC. That would make it way easier to like integrate and like easier to explain to people. You don't have to like click like I want to pay with like this network. You just pay with one network.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. So how challenging is it to make this happen, or is it really just more about getting adoption?
I think I mean I've already made a demo, and I don't have a link right now, but like it's on my Twitter. I think it was a couple months ago, where you can use this now today and like a wallet, and like you can send sBTC back and forth between two wallets using Bitcoin addresses. So it's really actually, in that sense, it's technically pretty easy. I guess the challenge just becomes in like coordinating like wallet adoption, and then like figuring out questions like, okay, well, how are we going to derive the private keys for these different addresses? Because while we originally used like the Bitcoin derivation for stacks, then we switched to using like 5757, like a different path for stacks now than we used to use. And that was like a big hassle to migrate. And now like migrating back would also be a hassle. I don't have a lot of strong opinions on how that should be done. I think it's probably more wallet makers that should like have thoughts on that, like what makes the most sense.
Very cool. Very, very interesting stuff. Let me, Hero has, so let me actually thank you, Hero. Hero is actually our young Jamie for the day.
Mm.
So let me actually share this real quick. We also welcome Ken. Ken joined the conversation. I don't know, Ken, can you hear us?
Hey, guys.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you today?
Good, good.
So this is is this the post you were talking about, Larry?
Yes, there's a video and I believe there's a link somewhere to a demo you can try out.
Oh, there's a link.
Just scroll down. There's a video.
You got to keep scrolling because it's in Elon Twitter. You can't put a link in their first post, otherwise no one sees it.
Oh, right. Or
I think there's actually instructions on how you find the link. The link's in the forum post.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, I have the forum post up here too, actually. This is this is the right one, right? It's back in February.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, I believe the link is further down in the post.
So people can go to the forum and get that information, though. Get that.
Absolutely.
So this is actually there's a demo of this. You can try it out now. Should we play that video? You want to play the video? Would that be helpful for the audience?
I don't think it's really needed. I mean, it's sort of like 6 minutes long. It's probably not the most exciting for your audience. Okay. But I mean, it's a demo that like it's a live demo. You can do it with actual sBTC. So like it's not theoretical. Like it works. It's just a matter of like determining like if other wallets want to implement it, and then how do you handle like the problem cases, like, and there are also a lot of other questions, like for example, I was thinking about this in terms of just sBTC, but like I think it was Marvin mentioned it would be really cool if you could like deploy like smart contracts to Bitcoin addresses. I don't know if it was you, Marvin, but like but yeah, I mean, like the question is, do we want this just to be like a top level user facing thing where like under the hood we use stacks addresses and then like wallets just translate these addresses to Bitcoin addresses for users, like in the wallet, in Explorer, and maybe in like payment pages? Or is this something that like Bitcoin addresses is just like totally replace stacks addresses and the APIs in Stacks core? And I don't know a lot of like what technically would have to be done to do, like, I mean, I know how you do it in an API, but I don't know how Stacks core is set up and what would have to be done for that. But yeah, I think there's a bunch of potential steps. Like maybe step one is just trying it out for like user facing stuff, and then like going through the process to see if it makes sense to further spread it.
Very cool. So this would be basically, it would just be a way to more properly or more effectively remove the concept that stacks and Bitcoin are separate. It would make it more easy to understand that they're actually connected chains, that they're kind of function together.
Yes.
Or is it improved? It makes it less complicated for the average user to use. You don't have to worry about, I'm on this chain, I'm on that chain, because the addresses will work on both chains.
Yep.
Is that the proper simplified layman's way to.
Yeah, that's one way to. I mean, that's one way to simplify it for sure. I mean, I guess the way I would look at it is that like if you're pitching yourself as a layer on Bitcoin, then why aren't you using Bitcoin addresses? Like it doesn't look like Bitcoin. It looks like something else. Like, and if like, or for example, if Lightning is scaling Bitcoin, why is it like some other address format? And why can't I just sign a transaction and broadcast it? Why is it like something else? So I think that like we should make Bitcoin like more usable using the semantics that like Bitcoin uses, like addresses, sign and broadcast transaction, etc.
How would this change Stacks native transactions done with SIP10s? Would this affect that at all, or would Stacks addresses still be used only for that?
I mean, it's more of a question for the community. Like I said, I was thinking about it in terms of sBTC and how to make sBTC as much like Bitcoin as possible. But if it was adopted across the ecosystem, I don't see off the top of my head why you couldn't just like use the Bitcoin address instead of the Stacks address, but otherwise keep SIP10 and all the other SIPs the same.
Isn't sBTC a SIP10 anyways?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I think just to like give some background, like really what Bitcoin addresses and Stacks addresses are, they're just like representations of like the public key sort of. And so like in particular, like they use the hash 160 of the public key. And so like you can just take the hash 160 is like the input of both the algorithm that generates this Stacks address and the one that generates legacy Bitcoin addresses and native SegWit Bitcoin addresses. So it's really just like, it's really the same thing, just different display method. So it's like, it doesn't really matter how you, like, you're not really technically changing anything under the hood. You're just changing how it's displayed to users.
Right.
So there's, I guess, are there any drawbacks to doing this? Like, is there any reason, why wouldn't we want to do this?
Do you want me to answer or do you want someone else to answer?
Oh, no, I would love for you to answer. You're probably in the best position. Well, anyone that has it, so I always like, that doesn't mean that there's actually, there may not be any good reasons other than just your general, like, you know, if we're forking the network, there's the risks involved and all of that, like the regular stuff. But is there any drawbacks to the current state of this ecosystem? Like, is there any players that, off the top of your head, I mean, obviously you don't know all of the potential drawbacks from other users might see.
Oh, I know everything. I have like a connection with my mind. AI told me.
Well, let's have it, man.
No, I don't. I think. Well, I'll go first, I guess. Then, like, I think that the original reasons for not changing it is that like it makes it less clear like what network you're using. So you have and it also potentially makes it so users can mess up. When I say mess up, like for example, they may send a sBTC. Someone may say, "Hey, pay me in Bitcoin," and like they send a Bitcoin address, and then they like send some sBTC, but that user's wallet doesn't support sBTC because it's like a regular Bitcoin wallet. It's not like Xverse or Leather or Rider. And so that would be like, they'd be like, oh no, like I can't like get to my Bitcoin, my sBTC Bitcoin, right? Or they wouldn't see the payment happen. And so you'd have to have a story to tell them. You have to be like, oh, it's okay, just like download like Xverse, right? And then like set it up and you can get your Bitcoin. Like so. And
so this wouldn't automatically make Unisat function with Stacks transactions.
I haven't used Unisat recently, so but I guess
Unisat is just a regular Bitcoin wallet.
It wouldn't make Electrum work with Stacks services.
Right.
Phantom wallet probably wouldn't at the moment if they don't adopt it.
Is there a way around this? I mean, maybe isn't it a thought of like, unless the wallet, because I mean, I would be so confused if I was a user and I didn't really know anything about Stacks or sBTC, and then suddenly sBTC landed in my wallet. I'd kind of get a bit of a fright, right?
I think if I can jump in here, as a wallet builder now, First, I'll like 1 minute real quick, like why this so interested me and this got me excited. It's like one of those things that seems so obvious where you think like, oh, why haven't we thought of this before? So I was quite a fan of Larry's proposal, but what he explains is also what I see as the main risk. So when we talk to our customers that are receiving their riders right now, most of them, and definitely not all of them, but most of them don't really care what network their token is on. So they have Bitcoin and they want to put their Bitcoin to work. So let's say that we introduce an earn product. You can generate yield however way, let's say that we move that into sBTC, it goes to StackingDAO, they generate yield. It doesn't really matter like how it works, but they just see a Bitcoin earn product. So there are a lot of people that don't really then care where that Bitcoin is, whether that's sBTC. So for them, it would be great if there's one address and they never see that different experience. But then what Larry describes, let's say that now I send some Bitcoin, what I think is Bitcoin, from my Rider wallet to someone on a Bitcoin address that has a pure Bitcoin wallet like Electrum or something else. Yeah, they wouldn't see the transaction at all. And that could be very jarring and confusing. So you ask, is there a way around that? I think since Larry's talking about, there's a lot we can do like on a user level, on the wallet level, without touching the core of Stacks. So the addresses that can be managed by wallet. So I could foresee, for example, if we were to integrate this into Rider, that as soon as I send Bitcoin, I will peg it out first and send real Bitcoin and only ever do transactions with Bitcoin. But of course, that makes it more expensive and adds more friction in the sense that it takes longer, whereas sBTC is very quick to transfer, it arrives almost instantly. So in the short term, I can see some solutions, but I think in the longer term, that would mean like coming together as a community and trying to figure out like what kind of options exist that make that easier. Because if we just take Stacks and we say, okay, in this bubble, this ecosystem of Stacks, we could convince all the wallet builders to switch to Bitcoin addresses. We can do that. Larry's demo works instantly, and we would probably have very little issues. But then once you move out of that and say we're going to go to a user that's pure on Bitcoin, that's where I think most of the risks are.
So, isn't it a slow journey maybe over time then, where you kind of start explaining this to other wallets and get them? How hard is that? Sorry for not understanding, I'm not technical, but say, for example, you go to, another wallet and you say, okay, this is the product. You just need to do X, Y, and Z, and it's going to work with your wallet, and that's going to grow slowly. Is that something that could happen or not? Is it much harder to integrate them into other wallets? This Bitcoin to Bitcoin address?
I think it's a question of market demand for the wallets, like customers. If they're, some of them are open source projects, so they're not really even customers, right? So like it's a lot of questions. Yeah. Like, for example, what are the ideologies behind like the person making the open source software? Do they want to support other networks? Maybe they just don't want to, right? To take that all the way to the extreme, like I don't think there's a chance in like near future we're going to get Bitcoin Core to integrate this into their wallet, right? So you're always going to have like not that anybody uses the wallet that comes with Bitcoin Core, but like it would be kind of interesting to think about them integrating them. It'd be like a layer 1 wallet is dependent on a layer 2, but you need the layer 1 wallet to run, right? So like you're always going to have that problem with the margin. I think it's just a question of like explaining it to users and like narrative and like, well, this is what you do. I think the bigger problem is going to be like, for individual users, you can always tell them just to like, oh, like you need to receive this payment, just like migrate your seed phrase into this wallet, right? Easy. It's like an onboarding thing. Like it's actually good for wallets that support it. But the problem comes into things like exchanges where like people think, oh, I want to deposit my Bitcoin to Binance, and like, oh, here's the Bitcoin address. But like having said that, like Binance already faces problems like this because like so many different networks use the same address format. And so like when you go deposit, they have like a interface that says like, okay, well, make sure you're using the Tron network or the whatever network to deposit your USDT. Otherwise, we won't receive it. So I think that's the places where like the problem will occur, and it's not like it's already happening already now. So it's not like we're creating a new problem.
Well, it still sucks as a user though. You think you send your Bitcoin and it never shows up, and I guess it's also on the part of the exchanges that they should do some work towards this type of recovery, because it holds back everybody in this ecosystem, right? Like I remember sending the wrong USDT to an exchange years ago, and then years later they say, hey, we start supporting this this network now, and suddenly the USDT showed up. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. I forgot all about it. But if I think about the end user, we were just at an event where there were a lot of non-crypto people, and we are introducing a hot wallet for the first time. And then we explained, we said, like, look, this is a device that contains your Bitcoin, because then it makes sense to them. But if they run into an issue like this, it would suck if your first Bitcoin disappears into the void because under the hood it was a different asset and you send it to the wrong address and whatnot. So we would have to come up with a bunch of safeguards.
It
Yeah, I think
sounds to
you're-
me a little bit similar to like the ordinals adoption. Like some wallet at the beginning recognized ordinals assets, some wallets didn't, and then as ordinals get more traction, then more wallets started adopting. But you could have sent an ordinal to an exchange maybe, but the exchange won't display the assets. But if you send it to Xverse does display the ordinals asset. So I guess it's somewhat in the same sphere.
So on this particular problem, there's actually a potential solution, and it's because Stacks has smart contracts, right? So what you can do is you have some sort of signaling, either call like a smart contract to signal that this address is capable of receiving Stacks assets or sBTC. And when you send sBTC from a wallet, you can first check if this address is compatible or not. So an exchange would not be compatible, and you would know it. You wouldn't be able to send to it. It would just require that basically when you set up your Stacks wallet, you have to sort of activate it before you can use it, right? By calling a function.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. Actually, we're thinking about like how we will do this with Rider, and we also want to start with sBTC, but just call it Bitcoin. So that's something we're exploring. And Ken, we want to do something very similar if we go in that direction. So our naive approach was just when you're sending to a Bitcoin address, we can scan the Stacks chain and say, hey, has this address ever sent a Stacks transaction? Has it ever held a Stacks asset? If so, sBTC is okay. Otherwise, we'll have to go through a route where we peg out first and then the Bitcoin goes out. So we're playing with some similar ideas. I think that could be a good first step.
I think
Another
that's,
idea. Oh, go ahead.
I think that's something to keep in mind also, is that what we're talking about, how meaningful is that going to be to your new user going forward, as we see, especially for Ken and Marvin, who are like on the forefront of wallet technology, and that being one of the things that's definitely hampers, mass adoption, right? I mean, retail, I think like the golden goose for wallets are making it as easy as possible for retail to participate in crypto. So how much of this will be relevant to your onboarded user 5 years from now with what wallets are looking at now as ways to make things easier for people who aren't currently crypto native? Because I honestly think people like us are going to be dinosaurs and with how we use explorers and addresses and so forth relatively quickly. So I guess the question is, how important will this be for retail in a few years at the rate of wallets, the way that you guys are abstracting things away and making things easier?
At least for us, it all comes down to the utility. So let's say if sBTC is just sBTC, but earlier I talked about like there are yield products where you can put your Bitcoin to work. So for our end customer, what we care about is like, hey, this is some added value that they can use. And we want to use the type of language that people are used to when looking at traditional banks, but also neobanks. And they have very simple language for these things. So you could call this, Bitcoin earn or a term deposit. And you can explain like, look, you can lock up your US dollar for a month in a term deposit, and this is your APY. So you could do the same with Bitcoin in the Rider wallet and say, oh, I have some Bitcoin, and there's a term deposit product, if you will. where I can lock up my Bitcoin and it generates some yield. And that's something that customers are interested in the end. So it could be almost like a savings account. You know, I have a checkings Bitcoin account, I move it into this yield product, it generates some yield, and the Bitcoin comes back. And the majority, at least, of customers that we have spoken to, they then don't really care whether this is bridged over to Ethereum or put into sBTC and then put on Zest, put on in StackingDAO or whatnot. So I think that is where our interest in serving retail would come from. So like, can we add this additional use case, and can we do that safely? And if that's possible, then that's something we would go for. So let's say if sBTC is a different kind of asset and it doesn't add that value, we might as well display it as a different asset when that happens.
Yeah, I think you're directionally right in that outlook as well. People aren't going to care. You know, people will be asking their AI, hey, what should I do with my asset? And the easier that the wallet makes that whole process for people, they're just gonna do that. That's probably how it's gonna go.
Yeah, I think Larry's example is very good, saying like not all US dollars are made equal, and you have different kinds of products where we all call it US dollars. So in that same sense, you would talk about Bitcoin, for example, and then the customer doesn't care. Like, I cannot imagine a world where if, say, a writer customer wants to generate some yield on their Bitcoin, they have to manually go through that process. Like, oh, I'm going to peg into sBTC now. I need to learn about stacks. Then I need some stacks tokens for gas. Then I need to connect my wallet to one of these providers like Zest, and I need to do all of that. That's an advanced use case. Of course, we want to enable that possibility for people, but most people don't care. Like, when I open a term deposit, I just click, I enter the amount, I say, let's go, and it says it unlocks on this date, and that's it. I can sit back. So that's the experience that we want to create for customers, not just for Bitcoin, but also for other assets that can be staked or yield bearing in some sense.
So I wonder if you guys are familiar with what Rosar has been building on with his subnet, his Blaze subnet. It's like instantaneous transactions. He actually announced yesterday that he's worked out multi-hop transactions so that you can basically set up DCAing and all that stuff right in the subnet, the Blaze subnet. It's a subnet on Stacks. And Rafa had built out something where you can, like, he has his own not a peg in because it's just a liquidity pool for sBTC, but one confirmation, put BTC into sBTC and actually have it in that same transaction, also drop it into Rosar's Blaze subnet. So I wonder if that maybe is the solution towards further abstraction of those processes. You don't actually have to. You can literally just have a program transaction that starts on Bitcoin, bridges into sBTC, bridges it into a subnet, then everything's fast, it's in that transaction, and you can just leave it there until you need to pull it out. That might be the next step to streamlining all of that stuff. I'm speaking way over my head technically, so you guys would know better whether that actually makes sense or not.
So Larry and Ken, I'm just into Xverse wallet right now. So if it's successfully implemented and adopted, when I want to receive sBTC, would I copy and paste the Bitcoin address or the Ordinals address or the replacement for the Stacks address? Would it be like custom made one, little bit like the Ordinals, or do I just use the native Segway Bitcoin address?
So that's a good point. Like, it is confusion for our users. We're not going to be able to get rid of like the other Bitcoin addresses. So if you ask a user, how do you receive sBTC? They're going to get confused with all these different addresses. So we don't know yet because we haven't went ahead and designed the UX. We don't know what it's going to look like. So perhaps it's, we add sBTC to one of the categories and just tell you the Taproot address cannot receive sBTC. Or, we do something else in the wallet where we also eliminate the Taproot address and just give you one single native Segwit Bitcoin address for everything. I think that's probably the better way. So you get rid of all these different address types, including the Stacks address.
Yeah, that's the ideal thing. I was just thinking that as well. I mean, you just have one address and everything happens behind the scenes. Because I mean, as more and more people come in, there's like learning that has to happen, you know. And in real life, it's like just send money. And I think people have gotten also used to being lazy, you know, not really reading things properly.
Yeah, the other thing is, you know, BNS, right? Domain names or usernames on blockchains. And I think that could also help, you know, in the further off future where it's much easier to get a name and you can associate the names with any kind of address. So instead of using addresses, you'll be using names, much more like, you know, other kinds of methods of sending money, right?
Yeah, that's what I would like the most on my wallet. I just want my name. I don't want to send anything. Because I've made errors before. Obviously, I think a lot of people have, especially in the early days of ordinals.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot easier to avoid mistakes now than it was a couple cycles ago, but it's still more complicated than it probably needs to be for real mass adoption, you know, mass retail adoption, which we're just not there yet. We're getting there. There's tons of functionality there, but I guess really it's a matter of getting the wallets that people are using to adopt the standard. You know, Xverse is looking at it, and if Xverse adopts it and it's functional, then more people will adopt it, kind of thing.
I've been dropping links in the chat, so I have you guys use Notebook LM. Larry, Ken, Marvin, no? So
I don't.
What I did with Notebook LM is I took all of the writings about stacks from the Clarity book to the Gamma lessons, everything, and I brought it into Notebook LM, which allows you to create an AI that speaks to a specific subset of a body of knowledge. So I put everything about stacks into this Google product that uses Gemini, and it was able to analyze Larry's proposal in light of everything else on stacks. And so if you look at the chat, I put a link to the executive summary. I want to see if that kind of captures the main points. Take a look.
I just put it up on screen. Mike, you want to walk through it?
Yeah.
Special Bitcoin, SBTC equals special Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Sounds like a hallucination to me.
It's like the short bus Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Very special.
Very special. But a part of a family kind of
Supercharged.
Speedy Bitcoin.
So
Speedy Bitcoin.
So Ken, Marvin, Larry, can you do a quick audit as we just scroll down? How does the beginners?
It spelled my name wrong.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh yeah, there's an R there.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see that. All right, keep going.
Well, I found 2 problems so far. The special Bitcoin in my name.
Yeah, okay. I like it.
I kind of like special Bitcoin. Maybe we should tell the other folks in Stacks.
It could be like a superhero, like Astro Boy from the 80s.
Super Bitcoin.
Like a super
Bitcoin.
Super Bitcoin. I like Super Bitcoin. I think that's a good marketing play. But I was on the side of just calling it Bitcoin, removing the S, which also I think it makes sense. But
so
you tell everybody the S is super.
So keep scrolling down. For intermediate users, Stacks uses its own address system called Principals, correct?
I guess technically it's called something else, but
yeah, not really.
We refer to them as principals.
But those principals are those SK whatever numbers that you see on the Hyro Explorer, right? Those are called principals. You know when you look
I'm referring to.
You know when you look up on the
long address.
Yeah, the long S whatever address. Those are
it's called a Stacks address.
Stacks.
Yeah, or the technical encoding is Stack 32.
Yeah. Principles
We're
is
like
used to talk
rewriting
about.
stacks and Bitcoin here. We've got special Bitcoin. We've got wallet addresses called principles.
So the crux of intermediate is Larry's method lets users send the sBTC using a Bitcoin address. Correct or no?
Mhm. To a Bitcoin address, I guess.
Okay, good. So let's move on to advanced. To audit the advanced section.
I would say the first one is I wouldn't call it deriving, because the Stacks address and Bitcoin address, and they have been since the beginning, are just two sides of the same coin. It's a different representation of the same underlying, let's say, public key representation, underlying hash.
So it's not derived. It's just you can determine the corresponding Stacks address from the Bitcoin address. Is that
And vice
correct?
versa, yeah. That's what Larry showed, yes. So
Right.
you have
It's just-
basically
it's just in
your
this-
identity, and you can either turn it into Stacks address or Bitcoin address.
Okay, so Notebook LM, much like ChatGPT and assisting me with the morning news segment, is a work in progress. It doesn't get everything right, but it does. It's
like it
I
could
think
be
the
right.
general principle is it's largely correct. Basically,
With
Eric
wallets.
from
Every
Hero.
now and then I think to myself, like, who would be like trusty enough to test AI and wallets?
So Eric from Hero asked a question in the chat.
Eric asks, this is a long one. From my understanding, the reason why that shared pub key hash between STX and BTC addresses isn't leveraged is because wallets abide to the BIP 3244 standards, which segregate that commonality. But that shared pub key hash is the core of Larry's proposal. Well, I can't actually fish. So would Ken and Marvin confirm this is actually the question.
If I remember correctly, BIP 32 or 44 is the derivation path. So yes, it's a pub key hash. However, the Stacks address that we see now is on a different derivation path compared to the Bitcoin address. So yes, you can convert the current Stacks address to a Bitcoin address. It's not the same as what wallets would normally derive from a private key for the three different main types of Bitcoin addresses. They all live on different derivation paths. So that's another difficulty or friction when you want to, I guess, use addresses interchangeably. I think it's always been the case that in Bitcoin, reusing derivation paths for different purposes is discouraged due to potential issues like some other protocol asking you to sign for this derivation path, but then it actually turns out to be a malicious transaction on the Bitcoin side of things. So that's why the different derivation paths are separate.
Yeah, the idea was to have every asset have a different derivation path. So BIP 44 is like a list. It's there's BIP 44 and there's slip 44, which is like a document on the Trezor GitHub, which is like a list of like all the different coins in the world with like a different number for them. And so I think Bitcoin is 0 and Stacks is 57. You just sort of like, when you invent your coin, you pick a number that's not used. But it's sort of like it fell along the wayside, and like when we started having like multiple assets, like in each like coin type. So for example, I don't know, maybe I'm not up to it. I assume Ordinals does Ordinals use a different path for the Bitcoin address for that or not?
No, Ordinals uses the Taproot address, which is a standardized derivation.
Yeah.
So in the future, hopefully, the next step, if this becomes a product, we will be able to send meme coins and NFTs with just Bitcoin address, and including sBTC as well. So every Stacks assets, we can just use a Bitcoin address to send to each other. Would that be correct? Like the vision?
Yeah, but I'd like to add, I think whatever solution we will come up with, if we do choose to adopt and go to Bitcoin addresses or stacks, whether we or not we do a new derivation path, I think we'll have to scan both paths, both chains, anyway, to make sure that there are no assets left over. So easy example is if you're early in Bitcoin and you've experienced all the different types of Bitcoin addresses that you have, most wallets these days still they will either already do it for you or have an option where you can scan these legacy addresses to see if there's any Bitcoin left over. So I would imagine that in this case, we would just always have to check at least 2 of these paths to make sure that there's either no Bitcoin or that there's Bitcoin or stacks on either of them. But to me, this is a solution that could be overcome. I'm thinking specifically Trezor. They offer you the ability to migrate from a legacy address to, say, Taproot or Segwit, and they make that easy to send those tokens to yourself. So such a solution can exist in this case as well.
Kind of like a more well-integrated wallet mailbox that can hold more things and be transported everywhere a lot faster than it is right now.
So there's some work on the wallet side. There's some work on the specification, the design part of it. Wallet provider needs to integrate it. There's some work there, but there's also some work we need to find out from the code developers. Would that be correct? What changes we need to make underneath the hood of the chain?
You don't need any like core developer input for like the first level of this, just using this in wallets. So like there's like one level is wallets and like applications, and then you have like the API, like the Explorer API, and then you have like actual code inside like Stacks core. And you don't really need core developer input or anything except for the stuff in Stacks core. Or maybe like stuff to do with smart contracts. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So you will be initially it'll be a standard SIP at the beginning.
Yeah, there's no hard fork required for this on like the base level. You could pretty much get all of this done and hide the Stacks address everywhere except Clarity smart contracts and have this unified experience with Bitcoin addresses without touching the core node. That's definitely possible.
So it's really just.
But that would require the wallets, would it? The wallet would have to integrate in order for that to happen.
Yeah, regardless of whether it would be on the hard fork level or not, the wallets would have to adopt. Or have to, yeah.
And I guess the hero system will probably need to update the Explorer.
I mean, they could or they could not. I mean, obviously it's better if they do update it, but like it doesn't affect the usage for people using wallets. I mean, just like there are lots of other things that you can do to improve user experience, right? You could update. I mean, if you updated the Hero Explorer wallet, the Hero Explorer, and made it so that it just takes a Bitcoin address and it shows you. So anybody, like, you don't have to have a Stacks address. You don't have to have a wallet support Stacks to put your Bitcoin address into Explorer to see if you have any other Bitcoin assets, right?
So as part of the revamp or upgrade of the SIP process, we've introduced SIP deputies. So i.e. Basically a coordinator to help you guys, the developers, coordinate to make progress of this SIP so that you don't have to do the coordination part. We handle the coordination part of basically just your little go-to guy to help you with whatever. So Haddy, we were trialing. So if a person pick up this idea, help you guys coordinate. So Haddy is on this task of helping you to progress or advance the SIP. So yeah, just like to sort of make you guys aware of this and see how can we help you to advance to the next step, and what do you need and how can we help?
Well, I think I mean I would like to talk to. I haven't talked to Mark from Leather at all. I don't think he was able to join. But I think we have basically like 3 main wallets. So I think it's really a question for the wallet makers, because it's like I'm happy to help write a SIP, but if they're not interested in like executing on it, right, it doesn't really there's not really any point to do it. So I think it's really a question for them. Not to put you on the spot. Actually, I do want to put you on the spot. Put you on the spot.
No, that's okay, because what we or say the project team or the coordinator guys who are non-technical, we can help you guys connect with Mark, so we can help you arrange a meeting. Get everybody together in the same room. Haddy?
Yeah, I was about to say, so Larry, maybe if we pick up offline and then I can figure out what it is you actually need, and then we can coordinate on getting everyone at the table at the same time offline, and then maybe have an online once we understand where we want to go.
Okay, sounds good to me.
And also Boom, I guess, Haddy, which you already have connection with Boom, right?
Yeah, I included Dan on the invite for this.
I think it's too early for him. He's on the West Coast.
Yeah,
I imagine.
Correct.
Hard to get him on the morning show. He's usually not.
I guess
around
perhaps
until
an added question to this as well is like, well, we can have the wallets on board, but the customers or the users in the Stacks ecosystem and at large, do they care about this? Perhaps some more conversations can be had around there as well. So I appreciate this call to get the idea out there. If I have to say intuitively, to me it makes sense. I was excited about it. I can see many possibilities. So I would assume other people like that too. But before we do all the legwork to see.
I think it makes a lot of sense we can also maybe have more community conversation. I guess Peace Love, you'd be happy to host like other more community level, see what the sentiments are, right? The temperature checks. But yeah, just from my perspective, when I first heard it, I thought it was pretty cool, because anybody outside the ecosystem coming in, they will be interacting. The first point of contact would be the Bitcoin address.
So we need the wallets to adopt it, but is it possible that maybe this adds functionality value to the protocols beyond the wallets, and so there's a way to kind of get some input from them as to whether this would actually make things better from the builder or protocol side as well, and then get some participation from them towards supporting getting it adopted. Does that make sense? Maybe, because the wallets there has to be a reason for them to also put the effort in and adopt it. There has to be a need for it. And I think it's a great idea. I think it makes a ton of sense. But how are the protocols going to benefit from this, and how can we convey that to them, or even get some input from them? Maybe that's part of it as well.
So are you talking about maybe because, let's say, Granite and Zest, now they can go and market themselves as a Bitcoin product because they're using a Bitcoin wallet to do DeFi.
Right.
So there should be some benefit to Zest and Granite. So I guess by maybe putting them in a room, maybe that might help to gauge what they think.
What does this mean for Stacks on a whole? Does it impact anything to do with Stacks?
To me, if I can answer personally, I think this is another step towards making sBTC the first class citizen of Stacks. I happen to have been involved in the sBTC project at different times, and also at the beginning. And one of the first things that we did was try to figure out ways to pay the gas fee with sBTC. So specifically, the people that don't care about Stacks necessarily don't want it. For them, it's like a tool, right? You want to generate yield on Bitcoin. So why do I need Stacks? So we were immediately experimenting with ways to pay that gas fee in sBTC directly. So in other words, pay the gas fee in Bitcoin. So having this feature integrated to me is another step towards that idea of sBTC being on the same level or above the Stacks token itself. So I could see tremendous benefits in that sense as well. And yeah, I would be all for having protocols on a call and to just discuss this openly and see where they stand on it.
It feels to me like, you know, the look and feel when it all works, you'll be like you're operating like Ordinals ecosystem, because everything that you do in the Ordinals ecosystem are Bitcoin. When you send money to each other, when you send assets to each other, everything is Bitcoin
Yeah.
address.
I just think it's great for positioning. I mean, we've gone all in on, like, I don't know what it's called, Bitcoin BTC Fi or Bitcoin DeFi, but like, as we're Stacks is like a layer on top of Bitcoin, and we have an opportunity to like make ourselves look like a layer on top of Bitcoin. Like, we should take that. I mean, our competition, at least in terms of payments, that like builds on Bitcoin, like Lightning doesn't look like Bitcoin. Liquid, they use their own addresses, they don't look like Bitcoin. Like, we could look like Bitcoin. So I think that's I think it's a really great opportunity, and that makes apps that are doing DeFi on Bitcoin or using Bitcoin in various like earning methods, that just makes it look more like Bitcoin, as opposed to like some other network.
I think Bob and all the other EVM Bitcoin L2, so-called Bitcoin L2, they use Ethereum address, if I'm correct.
I'm not sure.
So yeah, it would make us much more Bitcoin than they are.
Yeah, and another nice thing about this, if you draw a Venn diagram of Bitcoin and Stacks wallets, you can say like, not all Bitcoin wallets are Stacks wallets, but all Stacks wallets are Bitcoin wallets. So people that purely use Bitcoin, they are never at risk of quote unquote losing their Bitcoin. So it's like the Stacks people where we have to deal with those potential issues we talked about before. But I think that's a pretty nice proposition as well, because usually you would draw ire from the Bitcoin community by saying like, oh, this kind of muddies the waters, and you send a Bitcoin transaction somewhere to an address that is not owned by, or there's no known private key. So basically the Bitcoin is now lost. So you should move to a different path or use a different address format. But we don't have those issues for like the people that are pure on Bitcoin. It wouldn't have any effect on them.
I had a question for Marvin and both Ken. When we talk about the Bitcoin address, would it make it easier for us to move between seamlessly because we have the same address? So we could move it SBTC back to sBTC. Would it make it easier from a wallet perspective? I'm thinking from a user's perspective, but is it easy to seamlessly transition between the two in wallet?
I haven't thought about that, but I don't think it would, because you would still have to explicitly say whether you want to convert that to BTC or sBTC, right? So it doesn't really eliminate any steps there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking along the lines of like how we have like stable coins, and you know the stable coins are on various networks. So I understand you'd have to move it. There would be, but it might make it easier for people with BTC moving across between stacks and moving on to the mother layer. So it would be more like a stable coin.
Yeah, so I thought a little bit about this. I can perhaps give my 2 cents on it. I think if you think about like how, I think a good example is like, I think Marvin used earlier was like, you have like a checking account and a time deposit account. You can look at the different layers like that, and like the problem is, or the challenge is that like to go through the peg out mechanism, if you want to move it like using on the network level, you'd have a long like it'd be a cost, right? And there'd be like a time to wait, and it wouldn't be a great experience. But you could imagine that that wallet like providers provide like a service to do this, right? And they take some sort of like fee for moving it back and forth and do it instantly. They take the risk, because there's still some element of risk, right? It's like, it's the same as like, as I'm sure many of you have seen, if you send USDT to an exchange, but you want to get like USD in your bank account, like it doesn't always trade exactly at 1-to-1. There's usually like a little bit of it's a little worth more or worth less depending on time of day or whatever, right? So you potentially have the same problem with a SBTC BTC peg, but then like there's financial traders or whatever can come in and try to like take some of that risk, and you can try to keep it very close. But you could imagine like
I think that
putting that into a wallet and then like abstracting it away and then saying, okay, well, we're just going to charge you like 1 basis point or something for this, and we'll take the risk.
I'm pretty sure that's how our PTC, Rootstock BTC works. There is some intermediary that provides a service. So they give you the coin quicker, but actually, technically, it takes longer to pick out. But someone fronts you the money and then get the real money later.
Yeah. So I was looking at more that the biggest competitor is going to be Lightning at the moment, and obviously us having using the Bitcoin address on both sides will make it easier for us to show that we're a lot more aligned as stacks with Bitcoin, was what I was trying to get to. Obviously, it creates opportunities for wallets to build products around that, to make it easier for the consumer to move stuff around. But I was looking if it was easier with the wallet address for the wallet providers.
I'll just say, at least from our frame of reference with Rider, like it could be, because now people just have Bitcoin instead of, say, Bitcoin and sBTC and whatnot, and there are ways to safeguard it so that you err on the side of caution. If you want to send Bitcoin somewhere, we can determine like, hey, is this an account that has interacted with Stacks? If so, we can send sBTC instantly and fast. Otherwise, we have to go through a peg out process, which we can do transparently. The user doesn't really notice or care about it. So I think there are ways to play with that to make that easy enough.
Just a side comment, like this cost happens with Lightning as well too. So you have to, like, if you want to add more layer 1 Bitcoin to your layer 2 Lightning, there's going to be a fee. It's going to be the miner fee. Or if you're using a provider like Phoenix, they're going to charge you a fee. Same thing if you want to add more liquidity, there's a cost to that. So it's basically impossible to like have a 1-to-1 peg.
Yeah. And I'm also just thinking now about, again, like fintech, like Wise or Revolut. When you send money with Wise, you can choose, if you have a balance, you can use your balance, which is cheapest and fastest. But you could also choose, for example, a bank transfer or a charge on your card. And then they just show you a list like, hey, how do you want to send this money? And then you can choose, and they say like, look, if you do the balance transfer, it's instant. There's no fee. If you use a bank transfer, it takes 3 to 5 days and it'll cost you this much. If it's a Swift transfer, this much. People are used to that. They understand those types of things. So I could see a potential where you could say like, well, you can choose to send sBTC, or you can choose to send Bitcoin, however way you want to word that on the main network. And then it'll take longer and cost you a little bit more. You can just choose options based on what balance you have available. That's exactly what they do, and other parameters. So we always go back to these neobanks and fintech providers and see like, hey, how did they tackle these types of solutions? And these are things that people already use, that they're used to. So can we create the same kind of nice experience with crypto? So we would go in that direction too.
Would you like to wait 3 to 5 business days? Sure, why not?
Hey, it might make sense, right? When you unstack on some of these liquid stacking platforms, they can say you want it instantly. This is how much you get back, or do you want to wait for an unlock in 2 weeks from now, but you get the full amount? So it's the same feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to bring it back, Larry, what do you need as a first step to get this moving? And then the second question would be, Ken, what do you need from Larry and I in order to progress this with Xverse?
Well, I think I need to know what the wallet manufacturers need. Like, what help do they need from us? Or do you want to see do you want me to propose what you should do? Which seems to like kind of be backwards.
Can you write the code
you're in the best position. What?
Can you write the code for us?
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm down with that too. Larry, just send us a PR.
I mean, I already wrote a little library that does it.
Yeah, I
I mean,
think
it's
from our
super simple.
perspective, it's going to take some work to figure out the UX side of things and how it fits in with the current product and how backwards compatible it is, and some of the pitfalls of user confusion with these address types and things like that. We just have to spend time to think it through. But otherwise, I don't think it's a huge change in the software itself.
Yeah, the technical work is the easiest part of this. I think what it will come down to is having a SIP that is adopted by everyone, that the community is behind, and that we have a very clear path to say, like, look, this is how we want to do it, and then it's just putting in the work. So it's more about figuring out these edge cases and which derivation path are we going to use? How do we deal with Bitcoin and stacks that was sent before? Once that is clear, the actual work won't be so challenging, apart from a UX question that, of course, is different from Ken than it will be for Ryder.
So does it make sense? Go ahead.
Aside from the UX, which the wallets, that does sound like it's going to be a lot of work on y'all's end. I would say the next part that the SIP would really need to focus on, maybe not even in the SIP itself, is you have to sell this to retail. Like you have to clearly delineate to retail why this is in their interest. Because it makes a lot of sense on a lot of different levels. But I would say as a retail user, Lightning addresses are different than Bitcoin addresses. People still use Lightning. So why does this matter? Right? Like, that's just to play devil's advocate. So I think that has to be taken into consideration. And then the other part is where retail is concerned is what does this mean for STX specifically? Well, if we're not going to use STX for sBTC transactions, and sBTC is going to be the product that we're shipping out to other blockchains, we want it to be big like WBTC, we want it to be bigger than WBTC. So I think that would be another thing to really address with the community as well. And so, on things like DeOrganized, this is where we can really flesh a lot of this out. But I think that, just from a dev to retail perspective, if we could delineate like the strongest, talking points in terms of how this affects STX owner and a STX user, what would those points be? I think that's going to be important when it comes to, putting this into a SIP as well, not just the technical considerations. And I'd say that's at least second to, the wallets, because it'll change the entire way that everyone uses their Xverse or their Lether or, when Boom comes online, etc.
How do we send sBTC now? Do you send it to a completely different address? If I'm sending the only reason I asked is because my wallet was drained before I could send my sBTC anyway. It sits in its own.
Yeah, it's just a regular SIP.
Yeah.
No, it's just a regular SIP 10 transaction.
Right.
Like a regular.
Oh, right.
It
has its own. I remember seeing it actually now in my wallet. It just sits in its own thing. You know what I was thinking about stacks? Because I saw there was a question there earlier about how does this affect stacks, right? Surely if we think about Bitcoin and what it's going to become going forward, you wouldn't take your bar of gold and then chop it up into a whole pile of tiny pieces and start buying coffee and milk and cream and groceries with it, right? You keep your bar of gold because that is so valuable, but you have your fiat, which, is linked to was linked to the bar of gold that you kind of spent, right? So surely that's the importance of stacks if we look at it in, and Marvin was saying just now how you kind of look at real world cases and then you think, okay, how does this kind of work here and can it work better? But surely that is the incredible benefit of stacks, because you're still tied to Bitcoin as gold and fiat used to be tied to each other. So it's almost like stacks becomes your spending money and Bitcoin becomes your store of value. Because I mean, I'm thinking of myself in 2, 3, 4, 5 years' time. I'm definitely not going to go to Starbucks and buy a cup of coffee with my Bitcoin. So doesn't that add value to Stacks?
Odds are you're going to do that with stable coins, right? And then your best stable coins, ideally wouldn't be linked with fiat. But I mean, here in the US, that's exactly how it's going to go, at least at first. But no, I see what you're saying, but the real thing is going to be people are going to be putting their Bitcoin in various protocols, trying to earn yield from it or what have you. That'll be paid in stables. And that's what, people do more transacting in than less. When we start talking about what a crypto economy looks like, that's probably what it's going to look like.
Well, one thing that sBTC is going for too is that it does make it easier to use it for payments, because you can send it faster and cheaper, at least how it works in Stacks today. So there are definitely possibilities for that. And of course, this is very forward-looking. People could use stables or have a protocol that will convert it to whatever the merchant at the time wants. So I don't think that's necessarily wouldn't be like a mutually exclusive thing. But perhaps you wouldn't use mainnet Bitcoin, but I don't know. It's possible.
So, Jack, thank you very much for the input on the retail side. I think the question herein lies is that we need to understand what's the difference between an existing user and a new user, and how we're going to build for the next wave of users coming to Stacks, and how we more closely align ourselves with Bitcoin and using one single address, I think, is the key. And then obviously, as we spoke about before, DeFi is going to be massive. So it'll help us with onboarding people in around DeFi and earning that yield. And then to what Mel said as well, it is really important that we think about Stacks and how Stacks plays out. Maybe it's the stable coin that everyone uses as payment. Is there anything else that anybody else needs at the moment? Any questions?
I think this is a great proposal. I think it's obviously very useful. It's just a matter of getting all of the people that need to actually act on it to get on the same page. So I think we're already headed in the right direction. I think this has been a great discussion. Thank you guys for joining. Whatever we can do to help bring awareness to the community, we can. But I do think that some of the conversation needs to be had beyond the wallets to make sure that we know where the demand is for adoption in the overall ecosystem. I think that would be helpful. I've also got a bunch of people starting to chime in the live chat, where we normally do our Find2Earn segments with Xenitron, the game master, at 9:30. We have a whole group of people that come on here and play. We rearranged times to accommodate this discussion a little earlier than normal today. So we don't have a whole lot more time to continue with this discussion. I'd love to have you guys back on again, or facilitate some other kind of panel or whatever. If you guys, anytime you guys think would be something beneficial for us to contribute to this, we're happy to help in any way. I do think that it's a very important, I think it's really a good idea, and it's the outcome would be to connect Stacks to Bitcoin more directly, which is, I think that the general benefits for the ecosystem are obvious, right? It makes Stacks the Bitcoin layer 2. It's not even necessarily a layer 2 at that point, is it? It's kind of like almost just a part of Bitcoin. So I think it's a great concept. I think it's very well thought out to this point, and it's just a matter of keep moving it forward. I think that this is something that we should do, in my opinion, and probably will do. Right? It seems like that to me.
Yeah. Just want to shout out to Larry for stepping up, proposing this. Without these ideas, we wouldn't be where we are.
Oh, thanks for everybody's contribution. It's great to see that people care. They want to make Stacks and Bitcoin better again, great again.
Yeah. For real. I mean, we're in a very, very interesting place because I think that there's a ton of awesome development going on here, and we are building more ways to use Bitcoin and to further the network and get better adoption, make it easier for people to use it that don't have the technical skills, such as myself. So I think that this stuff is great, and thank you all for your time today and for your participation, and for Haddy and Hero for putting this together and letting us host it here. I think it's great. I really think that this has been a great. I love that we're getting this into the ecosystem the way we are. Just in general, having these conversations, I think it's.
And hats off to everybody here. SBTC is awesome. You know, Ryder is absolutely awesome. I think you guys made the iPod for, you know, crypto. I honestly do. I think it's going to be huge for mass adoption, and obviously
Thank you.
You guys rock. First mobile wallet I ever owned. You know, it's the products just keep improving. Everything keeps improving. You guys, we appreciate all the work you do. Seriously, you guys rock.
Thank
Please
you.
can I add in here? Last night, this is the weirdest thing. Last night, I dreamt of Ryder. Okay, I mean, I can't even, when this call happened, I was like, what the hell? But the best part of it was I dreamt I got 4, and they were in like a little box like this, and they were pastel color. So there was a pink one, a baby blue one, a yellow one, and a minty green one. So I'm just putting that out there that I really was
What
excited.
an interesting idea. Different colors, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, and you should make them collectible, and then like you could only get certain colors by like doing certain things.
Exactly.
Like you can only buy them
Real
in
life
specific
NFTs.
geographies.
Like
Yes,
physical
exactly.
NFTs.
Okay, so, and I just want to sign off the color palette because I dreamt about it. It's from my dream.
Send us a tweet about that.
Yeah.
About these colors.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for your time today. Thank you for your
Thank you.
input. Marvin, thank you very much for your time.
Yes.
Ken, thank you for your
Thank you.
time. I'm sure we'll catch up in the back end. And Larry, if you got a moment, it'd be awesome. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, GPTC. Thank you,
Thanks.
Jack, for your time. And Peace, thank you, as always. Hero, catch up soon.
Thank you, Haddy. Guys, if anyone that wants to hang out and play, we are going to get into Find2Earn rounds with the Game Master. He is here in his original form, his true form, to launch our Find2Earn round games. Thank you guys for joining us. Marvin, Ken, Larry, Haddy, Hero, all of you guys for putting this together. You're welcome to hang out and play. Just before we run into the Find2Earn rounds, we will actually have a quick word from our amazing sponsors. First, a word from our awesome friend at StackingDAO.
Hey, Zenny. Nice to see you. Happy Friday. Also,
GM.
All right, we are back and we are ready for some rounds of Find2Earn brought to you by Skullcoin, Rucoin, Leocoin, Bitcoin Pepe, and soon including Flat Earth and Meme Coin. We have 3 double rounds this morning. Zenny, how are you today? We also got Orange in the house. How you doing today, brother?
Good morning, all. I'm doing good.
GM. Don't mind Buddy the Wonder Pup in the background. He is actually well cared for. He's just being a little bit of a brat this morning. Yeah, you are. I don't know if you guys can hear him or not, but he's whining at me like a... No.
Oh, you can hear him a little bit. It ain't too bad. No wonder.
So we have 3 double rounds. We're going to have the first round will be a whitelist round. Since Michael has left, I will share my screen for the whitelist, unless Jack or GP wants to share for the whitelist round.
Oh,
Come on, Jack. You play.
You got it, GP?
Yeah, I'm bad enough at playing. Trying to find the thing, man. I'm not gonna be able to multitask. So.
Yeah, I can jump on it. I'll throw me on there, Zenny, and I'll play.
So we have whitelist rounds sponsored by Rucoin. It's double round 1,500 1,500 times 2, so 3,000 Rucoin up for grabs. Those of you that don't know, Rucoin is an amazing community meme coin on Stacks, created by Legend of Stacks Legends himself, Jack Vinswitch, who is here to play with us today. They have a tremendous community, a tremendous number of projects that they facilitated, including innovating DMT mints on Stacks NFTs. They integrated runes. They are trading runes on Bitflow and Velar now, I believe, as well. And we got some more stuff coming. We'll keep that on the down low until Jack's ready to announce it. But some really cool stuff coming from Rucoin and the community. And Zenny, when are you just about ready, or do you need a minute to get set up for that round?
Yeah, we're ready. I just want to say, like, in the next week we will shuffle, like, the first round. It could be not the rule round. It could be another round like Leo. We just shuffle the rounds, and the flat and the meme coin will join us. I believe it's very huge. So we will have the more games and invite everyone to participate. Okay.
Right on. So you guys are, so just to remind everybody how the game goes. Actually, GP, you wanna walk everybody through it real quick?
Yeah, let me do it. Let me pull up quick Skullcoin on my X page. I'm gonna go to Skullcoin BTC, and let me share my screen here so you can take a look at the page. Sorry, my computer is being a little slow. There we go. So you're going to go to Skullcoin BTC here.
Mine's been going slow all morning too. I think it's having all of that death power on the show.
Got 1,000.
Just blinded orange. Actually, that's the trick, is to go in light mode in Orange's eyes. And maybe everyone else will have a chance to win because Orange can't see his screen.
I usually use dark mode for everything.
Today we have the second game will be another whitelist for the gold and silver. So we cut Global Elite for players. And the last round will be open for everyone. So we have 2 games with whitelist. We test this one.
Awesome.
Right on.
So the way that it works
go ahead, you do it.
Because our goal to grow everyone. So our goal to everyone to understand how to play, to make it better, and not compete in every game with players who play since summer.
Right on. So for the first 2 rounds, there will be whitelisted players that are able to go and search for these coordinates that are dropped here. Usually in conjunction with the link, you can just click the link and it'll take you to Google Maps. We are looking for a Pepe in a this little buggy thing that they drag people around in, and a Pepe, this lady Pepe standing in front of this very glorious house here. So this is your starting coordinates here. You click that, and let me switch my screen over to what I see whenever I click that link. Oh, not stop sharing. Whoops.
Is that called a tuk-tuk, that vehicle?
Yeah, a tuk-tuk. There you go. Thank you, Jack.
I wasn't sure.
Pretty sure it's called tuk-tuk, something like that. So you'll click these links, and we are looking for that Lady Pepe or that tuk-tuk, and it'll give you the starting coordinates. It's a pinned place right here. You drop your guy in.
Okay, let's launch the game with whitelist, and you continue like explaining, showing, and you can just show the whitelist game, okay? How to play.
Right. So we're gonna go on to the. So we'll just go to the Skullcoin BTC page, and we're waiting for the round to launch.
Okay, hold my countdown. Let's go.
GPI, your screen share is off.
Yeah. Here, let me pull it back up.
Oh my god. My chat GPT just came on and said I'm not able to screen share. What the hell?
And so, GP, you want to do the countdown?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Let's go. The game for newcomers, new adventures is on, and GP, you can just show on this game how to play. And this game's for room, double round. You have to find the room with cows and the sheep.
If I refresh, it'll bring up the game here, hopefully. So we are looking for a roux in this field here. Looks like behind some sacks of hay or whatever it is. So I'll click on this link. It's going to take me to Google Maps. I'll replace my screen, go to Google Maps here. There we go.
And make sure you guys are liking and reposting the game round. That is a requirement. You got to like and repost, and if you like and if you don't like and repost, and you put your answer in your first, you will forfeit your answer to whoever finds it second. So make sure you like and restream the game post. You also need to like and repost the live stream. Share out the live stream. That helps us grow. That helps us provide these shows and more opportunities for you all to find to earn. And we appreciate you all, by the way. Thank you guys for being patient. Thank you for joining us at an adjusted time for these games. It's we're building stuff for the ecosystem here. We had a great conversation with Larry Salibra, Marvin Jensen, and Ken Liao from all sorts of amazing projects. Rider One from Xverse Wallet. Larry's proposal for integrating stacks into using Bitcoin addresses for stacks transactions, which would be an amazing development for the ecosystem.
You know, this is my kind of geography right here. Like, you live in a place like this. This is just about right. Like, you can
live in a place like this. Yeah. Don't think the grass will be greener anywhere else, because it won't be. This is prime living right around here.
Yeah, the rule knows how to choose the places, where to live, where to travel.
We can't wait until we have the Rue yacht. We can just go wherever we want.
Okay, we have one winner and one more. Let's launch the next game. The next game will be for Leo, and I will add whitelist for a gold and silver tier, so the players who won more than 2 times, but I cut the global elite, the best players, to give opportunity everyone to win.
All right, so being in 10th place on the leaderboard, does that mean I am not part of that?
No, you are part. All gold players. It's all players below.
It's everyone beside the orange.
4th place. Yeah. No Orange, Isaac, a Crypto Finder, and Winnie for this game, but they be able to play the last game.
All right. I appreciate that. So I'm in. I'm in, and there's no DeFi Dictator, there's no Crypto Finder, there's no Isaac, there's no Winnie, and there's no Orange. So
yeah, for the Leo game, because it will be easy game. So in the next week we'll shuffle different whitelists, but the last game will be open for everyone. It's double rounds. Remember, like 2 winners for both rounds. So okay, in the next game for Leo, let's go. Total 50,000 Leo, 2 winners. We are ready to launch. Who wanna count down?
I'll give it up.
All right, 5.
We're gonna go.
Okay,
Oh, here we go. No, you do it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, and please, like the link leads you to the Google Street View, so copy the coordinates if you wanna start from the satellite view.
All right, cool. So we're all right. We're looking for this puppy. House with the hedges.
Let's go. We give opportunity everyone to grow, and the last game will be a little bit harder with Pepe. Repost, like, share, don't forget.
Yeah, don't forget to like and repost the game round. It's very important. The game master will take your prize if you win, and you do not like and repost the round first.
You still compete with DeFi Dictator, Circunilingus, and all of them. Lil Duda across the street. In the top one in gold here. He has so far like about, I believe, 16 wins. Yeah. Yeah.
Who does?
Okay, we have one winner already. It's a person who found the blue car. Okay, congrats. It's 0x Welsh BTC.
Congrats on your win.
Let's go. Assistant boyfriend was a second, little bit later, and only one MS won the round with the dog. Okay, these games was easy.
Oh,
And
they found the dog already? All right. All right, good
And we
job,
face
guys.
the last round with Pepe.
Cool, both won already. Very good.
Yeah, this one was easier.
We are moving today.
We are moving. We've got, you know what it is, too? We've got just so many people participating now. So it does. If they're easy, it's usually going to go pretty fast because there's just so many people looking, so many people joining and participating.
Yeah,
Guys, do make sure that
the
you
faster game will be, but we can make it a little bit harder. So the Pepe games, you have to think a little bit, be lucky, and be skilled. The Pepe games will be open for everyone.
GP, you want to share for this last one, or you want me to take it? Or we can let Orange, actually. Orange, you want to take over the last round?
Yes, sir.
Orange with
I was muted.
All right, we'll let Orange, the pro, show us on this last round we've got. So we had a Leo round. I forgot to mention Rubes, another tremendous participant in the Stacks ecosystem, also with his STX Tools project that he's providing so much value to us, and all the cool things that LeoCoin does for their community, including their art passes with the art project that GP is a part of. Really great stuff with Leo, and of course, our beloved B Pepe crew, who we love so much. Nobody famous coming in there every day. Mark, Fleets, and the crew, and DeFi Dictator is part of that crowd, and Shiftlet and every Rafa is an OG from there. We love Leo, we love B Pepe, and we love Rue, our tremendous community projects on Stacks. Definitely. And now today you have an opportunity to win a bag just for tuning in and playing with us. What's better than that? So this is an open round, and you have 2 opportunities to win some Bitcoin Pepe.
Yeah, I just dropped you the round to show everyone one of 2. The second one will be the Ghibli.
Oh, second. Oh, I got the. Let me get that up there. Share my screen real quick. So this is going to be the image. Once the game, it looks like you got a couple guys fixing a roof or something. B Pepe's just hanging out in there like what? You got the moped in front. You got that Jeep with the back off. The extended truck Jeep in the side. So there's a lot of stuff in this image to catch your eye if you find the right spot. You got that weird vehicle on the left. Not sure if it's a truck or what. Maybe it's a tuk-tuk.
Contractor.
Yeah, I would imagine. So we got, this is what you'll be looking for, and you only get the opportunity to get this alpha, this extra clue, in advance by tuning into the live stream. But you are over on the Bitcoin Live, the Skullcoin BTC account on X. I will switch back to Orange's screen so you guys can see the man in action. Are you ready to launch?
Yeah, countdown. Let's go.
All right. Orange, why don't you give us a countdown?
5. Fibonacci sequence. 2. 1. Go.
Let's go.
I like it. I like the Fibonacci countdown.
Let's go. We'll find the Ghibli one.
Ooh. I'm going to put myself on mute so you guys don't have to listen to the Wonder Puppy.
The Ghibli one is easy because you have to understand the pattern. We still have no winners, so we give opportunity to make competition to everyone. Or maybe we have a winner. Let's take a look. Orange, did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay, Orange found the Ghibli one because like it was very easy. You have just to find this water dump on the map. It is on Crossroads. Okay. And Orange shows how to place.
The trick now is to find the blue roof. There are a lot of blue roofs.
Yeah, there is just a crystal clear. Your second, just a 30 seconds late. Yeah, there is just a Pepe Town. There is only orange, orange buildings. We're looking for these people and construction of building. We still have no winner. Everyone can win. And Crypto Finder. Okay, the Crypto Finder found this one.
Nice.
Well done.
Congrats.
Let's go.
No, I'm sorry.
Edo.BTC, it was like just a little bit later. No, it's not the location. Okay, we have all winners. So the next week we'll make this whitelist, give opportunity everyone to win and play by the skill. If you grow up to whitelist, it means like you'll be able to compete with your skilled opponents, but you'll be awarded. In May we will award top 10 players, I believe. You'll see.
Very good. Very good. Congratulations to all of our players and our winners today. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you guys for tuning in. We do have Jack. Are you going to hang out for a little bit?
Yeah, man. I've got some good alpha to share today.
Awesome. Awesome. So this has been another awesome episode of Find2Earn, brought to you by Skullcoin and our amazing sponsors, RuCoin, LeoCoin, and Bitcoin Pepe. We will have more games. It's always integrating new formats, new ways to do it, keeping it interesting. But one thing that's constant is that you guys keep showing up, you keep participating, and that's we love, that really does help us. It helps our project with DeOrganized. It helps us iterate new stuff and build out new ways to engage and entertain our community. So thank you all for participating. And now we will transition to the Rue Friday segment with Chat Bin Switch.
Let's go.
My buttons to work right. Where am
So
I?
guys, for the benefit of people who haven't been here for the past year, let me just go through a little necessary background to set the stage. So we launched Rue last April, April of 24. We etched runes. No, it was March of 24. We etched runes on the day of the halving, and just kind of sat on those. We knew we wanted them for the community. Didn't know how we were gonna put them in at that point. We launched the DMT NFT Stacks Invaders collection around, I believe it was June of that year. June of 24, we launched. It finished minting. Because of DMT, it had to mint block by block. These are completely different kind of NFTs. That finished minting in July. And with those NFTs, every invader had a amount of Bitcoin runes. We call them runes. ROOO, like 13 O's NS.
Runes.
So every invader had some runes attached, and we didn't really say a whole lot about that. You know, some people in the community, some of our big Stacks Invaders fans, they were like, "Hey, what's these traits about?" And we didn't say much. Fast forward to about November, and the Pontus Bridge and Bitflow partnered up to make it easy to send runes from Bitcoin to Stacks, right? So we used that time frame to mint the runes and said that people who own these runes will be able to mint a sequel to the Stacks Invaders collection, except this would be a Ordinals DMT collection. So Bitcoin Ordinals, and we call these the Rue Defenders. So that's people who either have runes because they have Stacks Invaders and they, either collected the runes off their invaders, or they bought some runes through the mint or on Velar or Bitflow. These runes are what you use to mint Rue Defenders. And today I want to tell you guys a little bit about the Rue Defender collection, because the art is finished.
Let's go.
I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Bitcoin Ordinals, but Bitcoin Ordinals, one of the first collections, honestly, when you look at how it was done. One of the very first 10,000 piece ordinal community was called the Honey Badgers, Bitcoin Honey Badgers. And the artist for the Honey Badgers goes by Rodrigo. A huge fan of the Honey Badgers community. I've been a member since Mint. Huge fan of the art. Rodrigo has gone on to do a couple of other really cool ordinals collections like the Little Sappos and the Chefs. Big fan of Rodrigo. He's a very good guy. And I really wanted him to do this art. Ian did as well. Ian's also a Honey Badger. And so we approached Rodrigo with it. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So he's been working on this. He has absolutely killed it. So what I want to talk to you guys a little bit about is what the Root Defenders collection is going to look like. Now, I do not have any art to show just yet. We'll go ahead and probably preview that art in the new Root Discord once we have that live. But the collection is going to be very cool. So the concept is, Stacks invaders are these aliens, right? And they've already invaded Stacks. And now somebody has to defend Bitcoin from this alien menace. And that's where the Root Defenders come in. Now, the Root Defenders there's going to be 5 different classes of defenders. Okay. And we have upwards of, as it stands right now, 10 unique backgrounds that could wind up on any Root Defender, and upwards of 10 traits per different part of the defender. And they're all class specific. So we don't have it narrowed down yet, because if we did the whole collection the way it stands right now with the traits and the backgrounds, we could have over 31,000 different Root Defenders with 500 completely unique defenders. So we don't know what number we're going to settle on yet. So that's going to determine a little bit how we play with the traits and so forth. But you could have an entire class of, you could have an army of one class of defenders. There might be benefits of holding different kinds of defenders. And then there's the DMT part of this that's going to make it a little more random, a little more fun. And Ian's got some pretty cool ideas how he wants to do the DMT. I don't want to speak too much on that now, because I've learned my lesson. I'll let Ian cook. We start with a concept, and then we go feedback with concept, and then you wind up with something really cool. So yeah, this is going to be pretty epic. It's going to be pixel art, different classes, and I'm really interested in doing more once this is done. In terms of, I'd love to see this become basically a game, because we're already starting to have all the different components of being able to make this into its own kind of cool game and so forth. But I wanted to give you guys that update. The concept's really cool. The classes, I don't know if I should. I guess I could kind of spoil the names of the classes. What y'all think? Do y'all want to hear the different kinds of names to just give you some idea?
Yeah, I've been waiting for some info on Root Defenders for the longest time. It's something that I'm bullish on. I'm bullish on ordinals, so of course. And then a legendary artist. I mean, you're speaking my language, man. Let's hear about it, please.
So
I love my Stacks invaders. So let's go. Let's see what they're gonna.
The invaders are gonna be they're gonna be in a bind, because these guys are badass.
Not my invader. My invader is strong. Watch out.
Some of these
I've got a few of them.
may be subject to change at this stage in development, but right now the classes we have, you have a class of Root Defender called the Solaris Empire. We have the Lunar Resistance. We have a class called Star Mercenaries, Void Wanderers, and Iron Predators. Now, all of these different classes are going to have, like I said, completely unique traits to their class because they're unique. They all do different functions. They all have different backstories. They all, so we're really going for being able to tell a story within the collection itself, so I'm really excited about that.
Immersion. It sounds immersive. I'm trying to get what's that Solaris Empire about? You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out about the Void Wanderers. You know what I mean? This is exciting. Storytelling and immersion into an NFT or Ordinals collection. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and there's so much lore that can be built around something like this, right? And then it's always fun. Like, I'm not like a huge sci-fi nerd, I guess. I don't take it as far as some people take it. Like, I like Star Wars, but I've never read all the novels. I like Warhammer, but I've never read all the lore. All of these kind of things, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate what it gives you in terms of storytelling and the ability to craft narratives and explore possibilities, that we can only imagine. So, yeah, I'm very excited about this. So pumped to have Rodrigo take the time and make this cool art. And again, like, one of our philosophies in Rue has always been, we wanted to make a cool meme coin that anyone could participate in. We didn't want to make it with crazy Ponzi-nomics that makes it really easy to lose your shirt. We wanted to be able to innovate and make crypto for people who like crypto. And so from day one, we've always tried to give as much to the community as we possibly could. So if you've been an active member in the Rue community since early, a lot of your Rue defenders that you're probably going to be minting these things for free because you got free runes with your Stacks Invaders, you got airdrops. If you've been in the community, you're probably the only thing you're going to spend for this collection is going to be transaction costs on Bitcoin, right? If you're new to the community, well, you're going to have to get some runes. And so I really hope that people like this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll have a lot more to talk about in terms of who we're going to launch through and mint date and all of these things in the not too distant future here. The art was a big part. Now it's time for the actual programming piece of it. I would think we'll probably go through Trio with this. The only caveat being is just how crazy Ian gets with the tech.
If it gets too complicated for Trio,
right? That would be the only caveat there.
You have to create your own platform just to launch it.
Yeah, it's always a possibility, so I can't say for sure.
Ian's a gigabrain, dude. He's like one of those guys that thinks outside of the box. He brought DMT to Stacks, man. So I wouldn't put it past him to make a Trio like kind of needed like a platform or wherever, like just spinning up a whole new platform to launch. So.
And like the Stacks Invaders are cool. I love the concept. I love the way they look. I'm most in love with the mechanics of them and how they work. So since the Root Defenders, you're going to have these different classes, and they're going to look, some of these guys are going to look formidable. And Stacks Invaders, they look cute and cartoony and so forth. Yeah. But because they're DMT, if the community wanted it, we could go back to Stacks Invaders and make a layer for the invaders to make them look, completely different. While the base
possibly even make them interact different with the defenders.
and we could just put a layer on there where, you know, this cute red alien now looks like this menace that is ready to, you know, eat your ass with a spoon, right?
I also like the idea of like,
we need to get Sir Quinnalingus out here. Sir Analingus.
Yo, I like the idea that you guys have of like upgrading the Stacks Invader like website, right? And like maybe getting other artists involved and spinning up like a skin marketplace. I mean, I think that's a killer idea, and I think that people would be able to make them look as badass as they want, and then you have like a whole different type of market that you've spun up. So I mean, from root offenders to Stacks Invaders to like what you were doing with R3 and the console, you know, just doing like some like minting of leaders within the root community. Like I'm a fan, dude. Like it's been fun playing in the Degen playground.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you know, you kind of is when you're bootstrapping and just kind of independently doing stuff. What you don't have is just like a massive budget to work with, you know. So like, we want to make the website better. We want to have a marketplace, but you know, when you start going that big and you've got one developer, you're very constrained by what you can do. You know, when you want to make the Root Defenders collection, you got to pay the artists. You have to make sure you have enough Bitcoin set aside to actually mint the ordinals. You know, we needed to have liquidity for the different trading pools. So you don't have a lot to play with in terms of, you know, but what your hopes are is that as people like these things and people like the DMT concepts, that over time you can just add more and more stuff to it. And yeah, like if you look at the Stacks community right now, you know, even in this past year, look at how many more people are out there creating content. Look at how many more people are active in the community. And I'm very proud that Rue's been able to contribute to, you know, helping to lead people and show people, hey, like if this is what being an active community member looks like, you know, this is how we get our voice out in the ecosystem. This is how we support our network. And by doing that, you also open up opportunities, you know, for every person individually. And, you know, again, when you get back to Zero Authority DAO going live here in a couple days, you know, mainnet's hitting soon with V2. You know, when you get to the reputation piece, that's going to be really where we see who in the Root community has really like gotten the most reputation, you know, who's done what and so forth. And you hope to further decentralize the vision and leadership within within these community tokens and show people who's been doing things. And you know, we started that thesis before, you know, like Kato was a thing, or before like wall chain quacks were a thing, but it's along the same lines where, you know, so if you're on wall chain quacks, they're like, hey, who is actually out here talking about crypto and who's actually got real influence, who's actually real. That narrative fits into what we've been trying to do with Root since day one, especially as it relates to reputation, just reputation in a different way. You know, Zero Authority is looking at reputation at the wallet level, whereas, you know, they're looking strictly at social media. So you can kind of see how that meta is shaping up. So that's pretty cool. But I wanted to share that with you guys. I'm super pumped about this ordinal collection. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
So I guess the only I just have what's the not trying to pin you down, but what's the timeline, or do you have a general idea of what you're looking at for a launch on this?
You know,
probably a couple months.
Ideally, it would be this summer. It's really largely going to depend a lot on Ian and how much time commitment he has, you know, with IRL stuff to bang out this code. But having the art piece done, that was a big part of it. So now we just have to basically settle on how many traits do we want to include, what's the final number of defenders we actually want to have, and then he does his magic, and then we go. So I think this summer is realistic, for release.
Cool. That's awesome.
That's sick.
That really is great. I
gotta
cannot
drop,
wait,
guys, but I really hope that you guys have a blessed rest of your day. And Jack, I am so stoked, dude. Yes, you got me bullish. Let's freaking go. Happy Friday, fellas.
Yeah, we are bullish. Bro, let's go. I have to go to Underworld.
That's the universe telling us it's time to wrap up the space. Thank you so much, Jack, for joining us today. GP, and Zenny, you guys made it another great show. I thought that the format change was a little bit of a kind of made things go less smoothly than normal, but that's kind of how we do anyway. We're DeOrganized. So with that being said, I am PeaceLoveMusic. We are DeOrganized Media, coming at you live on BitcoinLive, Decentralized broadcasting every Monday through Friday with all the news and information we can bring you about Bitcoin, Stacks L2, and everything that's happening in the broader crypto ecosystem, so that you can do your own research and make your own decisions as to what is right for you. Thank you all for tuning in today. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll be back with you on Monday. Peace out.